I don't know why the live chat seems so angry and so angsty. I feel like we got the news we were all waiting for today. Seth Keysor, let us hear it.
Stepped on the scale this morning, felt good, but I wasn't sure. But it felt like it was going to be a big day where the news would happen. And today, this day, November 4th, the year of our Lord, 2024, 100. Dang it! I weigh 199.6 pounds.
Hey! That's awesome. The obvious follow-up question that we're all asking now is, do you think you're ready for 10 carries against the Broncos next week? Considering trying to bulk up so I can get a few reps on the D line. I don't know what Nate's vision is. We already got too many corners, Nate. Now we don't have enough active roster spots. Too many. Frankly, Seth, we're not gonna have a 53-man roster spot for you, but the practice squad, it's looking pretty good. Welcome to what's going to be, I think, a truly fascinating edition of Only Weird Games. Joshua Brisco, Seth Keysor, Nate Taylor, with you here to talk about a trade deadline where nothing happened for the Chiefs, although a lot happened for the New York Jets, and a Bills game on Sunday that, the result isn't weird. That is what the Bills do. They win in the regular season, and the Chiefs win in the postseason. It did have a pretty unsatisfying tenor to it. So Nate, we're 30,000 feet. We're just checking. I'm just feeling out the vibes before we get to both of those main stories. Nate, how are you feeling on a weirdly warm Tuesday for what could not be called a hot stove season for the Chiefs?
Yeah, I'm doing excellent. I have been outside for a decent portion of today. You should too if you're in the Kansas City area before it gets dark at 5 o'clock. Shout out to my guy Tucker D. Franklin, who and I need to create a super PAC for daylight saving time is a joke. And we should stop doing it. It's interesting today because I woke up today pretty convinced that it was going to take some movement for the Chiefs to make a deal on trade deadline day. Based on their salary cap abilities, based on the fact that, did they want to trade Christian Fulton to create more cap space to then maybe take a bigger swing at the deadline? Would anybody want Christian Fulton, for a decent amount of, salary? And then, it got to that 230 range and I got an itch and I got a couple, texts and, was watching our special on ESPN if you were there for the trade deadline, because I know someone said it earlier in the chat. Yes, I'm happy to be on YouTube, and I'm happy that YouTube allows me to be on YouTube right now, because, it'd be nice if these two things actually agreed on one thing, but hey, that's how a lot of Chiefs fans feel, right? I mean, it would be nice if I could just choose YouTube TV, and YouTube TV says, you know what, I bet you want to watch sports on ESPN. And I'm like, yes, I would. I would love to do that. I'm sure the Chiefs today said, come on. You guys traded Sauce Gardner. What are we doing? And the Jets are like, I've been emboldened to take this hard stance. It must be a third round pick. And, here's where we are. So I think we can get to a very important distinction for the second half of the season, because this truly is the end of the first half. We are entering, as Seth would like to say, real football. It's a little early this year based on circumstances after Sunday's loss to the Bills.
Based on all of these preseason losses that keep stacking up.
Exactly. Based on these games that don't matter, that somehow matter in your record. we can't get to Thanksgiving Day against the Cowboys. But hey, we made it to November. It's real football. I think for me, I would love to know why everybody in the comments, what upsets you most about the Chiefs not making a trade? Whether it is for Breece Hall, whether it is a more important distinction, which I think is, did they really have a good handle on could they make a move for defensive linemen, which I think was the bigger need based on what we saw Sunday, Josh. And Seth, look, if you were in the room, if you were in the Chiefs room, I'm sure you would probably be in favor of Breece Hall for a 3rd round pick. But at the same time, does Breece Hall give you a chance that's like clearly definitive? Because I think that's the question that the Chiefs were sort of going back and forth earlier today.
So, Seth, where does that leave you? The report there that Nate's referring to, maybe adding to, was that there was the report,
which is real, by the way. It's an accurate report.
That the Chiefs had a 4th round pick offered to the Jets for Breece Hall. The Jets wanted a 3rd round pick, and the deadline's come and gone. So obviously, no movement for Hall, who's on the last year of his deal in New York. I'm not really sure what the Jets are. I like what the Jets did the first half of the afternoon. I feel like probably just go ahead and get your picks if you can. But Seth, where does that leave you? No help on the D line, no help in the backfield. 2-part question. 1, are you surprised? And then 2, what do you make of the day that it's been?
I'm not surprised, other than the fact that I think I have cheekbones now.
That is shocking. We're all stunned.
No one is more surprised than me. I'm not surprised. I didn't think they would probably make a move when you look at all the moving parts in terms of money, picks, etc. And also because this team's made very clear that they are going to always put faith in their system and their guys to just... Hold on, let me think of the right lines here.
He's rolling his lines
to just take a look at the film, tighten up on some mistakes, get a little bit better. Andy's got to be better. He's got to put his guys in a better position. If we just execute a little bit better, we put guys in a little bit better position. We've got the guys. We believe in the guys in the room.
Tighten those screws, boys.
All of that stuff. I mean, they've been running variants of the same offensive system since 2022, so I don't see why they would decide to change things up drastically in terms of how they handle the trade deadline. Given the apparent disconnect between the front office and the coaching staff in terms of who's worth, millions of dollars against the cap versus who's worth playing time, that might factor into it. If I'm Brett Veach, it's like, why would am I going to pull it? Like, are you going to play this guy if I get him? Like, there's all that stuff. And, people talk about the Chiefs don't use running backs enough to justify it. And we litigated the running back stuff ad nauseum.
Yep.
I would just say that if the 1st round pick the Chiefs used on a running back in 2019, the safe pick, the good fit, all that stuff, right? Good reasons that I argued for it.
Technically 2020, but yeah.
Yeah, daylight savings time has had Seth off on the years twice.
It was 2020, yeah.
I think people would probably argue about the importance of running back a lot differently if that pick had been Jonathan Taylor as opposed to Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Sometimes the player's just not very good, and that's kind of what happened. And
still better than Elijah Mitchell, apparently.
Apparently. And that's where, for me, I'm feeling very frustrated because, and you don't want to be too much of a prisoner of the moment because they were coming off multiple really good-looking games. The offense, though, they still don't have seemingly an answer for 2 safeties with man coverage, which the normal answer would be get under center and run the freaking ball. But which, by the way, they went away from running the ball under center against the Bills, which is just like, well, why not? And after all, it's only working. And so now they're out of the playoff picture and are reliant on other teams to lose to make the playoffs. You're already in that position.
Not exactly.
Yes, exactly. I will not debate this issue.
No.
That's how it is.
I can't mute Nate. If they sweep their next 3 AFC West games, those 3 teams would all be the Broncos, Chiefs, and Chargers would all be there. Their margin for error becomes 0, though.
Yeah, their margin is smaller, but I don't think they need other teams to lose. They just need to beat teams in their own division.
If they literally win out, they'll win the AFC West. This isn't a team that looks like
Fair.
they're on a track to win out right now, though.
Right. I mean, they just got completely mollywopped by a bad Bills defensive line. Like, what do we think's going to happen against the Broncos? Now, Josh Simmons being back.
Screen game me, baby. Screens.
Yeah, I mean,
Which,
good
by
work.
the way,
Worked so well.
they only did 1 against the Bills.
Yep. And that's where I think where I'm frustrated by, and I wrote about this, so if we want to shift, what I'm frustrated by with the trade deadline, and who knows how it'll all end up. The last time I was this frustrated with the Chiefs, and they were 5-4, they made it all the way to the AFC Championship. Of course, in that game, all the same things that had haunted them all year came back to haunt them immediately. Mm-hmm. I'll bring it around eventually, because what happened against the Bills was a clear situation where they were surprised, I think, by how they were not able to block them. I think that was a surprise to them game plan wise when you look at some of the stuff they were dialing up, kind of longer developing stuff.
Yep.
And Jalen Moore had a really tough game. Jawan Taylor, even before he got hurt, had a really rough game. Taylor's generally been good, penalty stuff aside, and he's locked that down recently.
Yep.
But that was, and then Trey Smith having a really tough game, which I think was somewhat predictable. He's coming in off an injury. I think 3 offensive linemen struggling is how you end up. I mean, that's how the Super Bowl happened, right? Where it's just a complete
They had
struggle.
one healthy starter on the offensive line by the end of the game.
Right. And so the thing to keep in mind, the way that Moore was losing, and this is what we've seen more and more now, teams are attacking his chest. He has never been a really strong power-based guy because he doesn't have elite traits. He has got to really commit to get to the edge, and that leaves his chest open, and power rushes can get to him. So the problem for him then is some guys are just going to run right through him. If he's anchored and that's all he's preparing for, he can do pretty well against it. But then, you risk giving up the edge, and he doesn't have elite foot speed. And that's where the traits conversation about Josh Simmons becomes really important. And yeah, Brian Burns had a good game against Simmons. But Simmons overall is just because his traits are so much higher. He's got so much more upper body strength, and he's got a lot more athleticism. He doesn't have to cheat to set, right? Because he knows he can recover. And he also has superior upper body power to really kind of muscle guys back when he's getting bull rushed. So that, I understand all that. And so I know I'm blending topics right now. The thing I'm frustrated about, well...
Nate,
Totally
I
fine.
hope you like your ally, Seth. I hope you like your ally on that one. Yeah, it's
Totally
fine.
fine. Yeah.
It's fine.
Keep going.
They say that you could tell what kind of person you become by who's agreeing with you, and now
If you got all of your Chiefs news from Only Weird Games, you wouldn't know that Josh Simmons was
Keep
back
blending,
yet. But now
man.
you know.
yeah.
Stir that sauce up.
So
Make it nice.
Simmons being back is a huge deal. Trey Smith having 2 weeks to get healthy is a huge deal. The offensive line prior to this last game was playing like one of the best in the league with Simmons and without him. So I don't know if that's going to happen, but some of the ways that they're using guys in the passing game, some of the ways that they're still using Xavier Worthy, some of the ways that they're using Rashee Rice, the ways that they're using Brashard Smith, the ways that they're using their run game, it's really frustrating because it's all familiar. Just like the trade deadline. That's where there's a familiarity to, the Bills were able to keep Spags in disadvantageous personnel groupings, and then that kept a talented player in the secondary off the field in Jaden Hicks. Now, some of the blown coverages, that's a different story. That's a little not like them. All of this just felt familiar. And it felt familiar in the sense of the way the first 2 games of the season felt. It didn't feel familiar the way the Jags lost felt. The way the Jags lost felt was, holy cow, they played so much better. I cannot believe they kneecapped themselves like that. Right. This felt like the first 2 games of the season, and it felt like a lot of 2024 games, except you lose instead of win. The Bills were better in basically every phase. That's where the frustrating thing is. It's frustrating seeing them trying the same things and expecting them to work again. And like, I don't know how long you can keep doing that. And that includes not taking the first half of the season seriously, because now they've got no runway. I think their season is on the line the next 2 games. You lose to the Broncos and the Colts, you have to win out and get help if you do that.
Yeah,
and
that's an issue.
Both of them look really solid and better in a lot of ways than the Bills. So it's just frustrating. The pass rush stuff, all of it being predictable, I think is why Chiefs fans are so frustrated. B-Megs, man, this is a great comment. Does Spagnuolo have a plan for no huddle yet? One of the most predictable things right now that the Bills take advantage of and have done like 3 games in a row, they know if they...
And by the way, on the plus side of the field too, which is farther away from you being able to substitute guys, which I also noticed as well.
Yep.
So
and
once you get to the red zone area,
Yeah. And the Bills will go to the red zone and then just go no huddle and run it down their throat. And they have yet to find an answer for that. So it's the predictability of it that I think has people so frustrated with the trade deadline, because this is clearly a flawed team. It has the potential to be better than last year's team. Last year's team was a flawed team too, though. And this year's team, and I think we'll probably pick up on this later, this year's team, as much as it's got potential to be much better on offense, it might be significantly worse on defense, because you might not have someone who's consistently playing at a Hall of Fame level on the defensive line.
All right, so, Josh, do you think it was coaching malpractice in terms of the game plan?
Yes.
Or do you think it was coaching hubris?
Yes.
Ask Seth.
Because I could say, I think the more I reflect as to what we saw Sunday, I think it's coaching hubris, because they did not, I wouldn't say prepare, but they did not adjust quickly to the Bills saying, well, whatever our 4-man pass rush was in these first couple games, well, we don't have Ed Oliver, we don't have like 5. We have 5 guys who are missing. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna get really chaotic. We're gonna do like a bunch of like weird stunts and games and like overloads, but at the same time, like it could be delayed. We could have a looper involved. We could have a guy that like appears to be a spy, but that he could like sort of, engage, within a half second of the ball being snapped. They did not adjust well at all, which means that I think is coaching hubris, because they anticipated something else, and the Bills, especially on offense, the Bills did something quite different, to where they said, hey, it don't matter if Cole Bishop's out there. If he holds the ball, because we expect him to try to pass it over our heads, we'll have at least people in position. And one of the fascinating things about them forcing Mahomes to hold the ball longer than he's used to is both muddying the pocket and having more guys in coverage because you're not blitzing. And for whatever reason, they did not have anybody. And I think this is probably Matty Lane who said this on the postgame show. Remind me if I'm wrong, Tucker. But it was Matty Lane who said, and again, this is coaching hubris, very few RPOs, no crossers. Like, where were they? Like, and again, these are 2 schematic things that have always worked against a Sean McDermott defense.
And you have Rashee Rice.
Correct. And you have Xavier Worthy, who you could use horizontal just as much as you want to use him vertical. So it was a bad game plan. It only got worse, Josh, because the quarterback earns a lot of respect for how he operated in that 2-minute drill. Because I just want to remind people, it is not like the 2-minute drill starts right before halftime, and all you're saying is, can we get in Harrison Butker field goal range? Because that's the entire goal for that entire drive. And then he does some bonkers, you know what, stuff, and he gets you to the one, and there's really no creativity in any of those 3 plays.
And to be fair, one of those goal line runs, Creed Humphrey just got manhandled one-on-one.
Whooped.
And that, let me tell you, the number of times
Never
that happens. And so I get that. And then they had to call the
first down. The only time they were only going to be able to run the ball once, and they ended up painting themselves into the corner with the most obvious sequence of run the ball. Now we have to pass it twice. Even that wasn't.
Yes.
Yeah.
To get his coaching
that's the one that's been
hubris.
nagging with me. I don't know why.
Yeah. That's a situation where you pass the ball once because Mahomes can stall it out, throw it away if it doesn't work, and then you try running it. And then also, honestly, I know this is what teams do, but man, even at the goal line, spread them out and run it. Like, I don't understand. I've never understood this. How teams don't line up with multiple receivers spreading to the boundary and stretching things out. Because it's so condensed already. If you bring bodies in there, it's just so much harder. But again, that's an execution thing. I would say it's hubris and malpractice. But I because it's hubris is the reason. Malpractice is the thing. It's kind of, it's important to know why something happened. Like, that's not an excuse for why something happened, but if you know, you can at least get to the root cause of it. I would also note that Mahomes, and this is where I'm probably most frustrated, and it's just one game. We'll see. Who knows? They beat the Broncos, beat the Colts. Suddenly we're cooking with gas, and we all feel pretty stupid. Because people were talking about the Chiefs as maybe the best team in the league, 4 days ago.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I would just say...
With good reason, by the way, based on how the offense had played in previous weeks.
The second in Super Bowl odds in DraftKings, by the way.
Right. The thing that I would love to come back to, that seeing how quickly Mahomes lost faith in what was going on around him, that should tell the coaching staff, this guy, the last couple of years have been tough. And you've got... And they've done a lot this offseason. But, man, seeing how quickly Mahomes started getting skittish in that pocket again and started playing sped up with his feet and slowed down with his arm. There was a throw to Rice on the outside and a throw to Gray down the field that he probably should have hit if he gets there a second earlier. But he was throwing late again. A little bit, a few times. And that's scary. Him throwing late and bailing early, that's what was happening last year. And he was still an excellent quarterback, but he wasn't at the same level he'd been. Last year was probably the worst Mahomes has ever played, which still makes him better than literally everyone else except like Josh Allen and maybe Lamar at his apex, stuff like that.
But the problem with that is he was still the best quarterback in the fourth quarter last year, Seth. And that's what most people forget is that he had up and down play throughout the entire point of last season because he had no left tackle, or his left tackle was, below average. His receivers were all banged up, and he would still play out of his mind when the game mattered most in the fourth quarter.
Right.
We'll have plenty more from Chiefs Bills to dig into here, but I get to call all Chiefs fans because you could be on the field at the 50 inside GEHA Field for the official coin toss at a Chiefs home game this season. Visit Chiefs.com/GEHA now. Enter to win a chance to be on the field for a once-in-a-lifetime view of the pregame coin toss. Plus, you can score other exclusive prizes. Enter for a chance to win at Chiefs.com/GEHA. GEHA is the proud partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll take a timeout, come back, and pick another thing that's keeping Seth up at night next.
I'm Brett Goodwin, one of the owners of The Learning Tree. The Learning Tree is a neighborhood toy store in Prairie Village, Kansas. This has been here in this location since 2000s, and my husband Alan and I purchased the store in 2023. Alan and I grew up in families where we've always wanted to have a business together. Alan grew up, for instance, his parents had a jewelry store. I worked in a local toy store here in Prairie Village when I was growing up. When this opportunity happened in 2023, we knew right away we wanted to contact them and pursue the store. We wouldn't have been able to get the store without the team at Emprise Bank. From the day we contacted them, they knew what we needed to do, which was very helpful. I would absolutely recommend the team at Emprise Bank to anyone looking to secure a business. We worked with Emprise from day one. They were extremely helpful. They were always great resources. We talk to them frequently. They know the area. They're very friendly. We know who we're going to talk with, and they know what we need to do. We hope we'll see you at the Learning Tree.
All right, Seth. The pass rush, I think, opened this season at a sleeplessness factor of I might as well have binged meth, and now it's worse for you. Let's go ahead and get to the Chiefs pass rush. Obviously, no addition made there today. Mike Pennell did return for this game and outsnapped Derek Nottie, I think just by one snap, but instantly in his return, he got a larger workload. This isn't, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and just say it again here.
Sad.
Yeah, because Seth looks so sad. Seth, I will let you know, it's not really pass rush related, but Mike Pennell could have just had a roster spot all year because Elijah Mitchell didn't need one, I guess. Again, I'm sure everybody probably caught this since then, but Elijah Mitchell and Christian Fulton were both healthy scratches in this game. Clyde Edwards-Helaire got the practice squad call-up. Hey, good for him. Cool story, cool return. He got 2 carries. That's all neat. Again, some of the serious stuff from his story has all been, pretty moving. He's been very open about a lot of things. It's all been great. Yeah. I wasn't expecting to see him over the guy they've carried on the 53-man roster since cutdowns. They were afraid to lose Elijah Mitchell. He wasn't snuck to the practice squad. That was for Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Carson Steele,
whose wife had to come out on Twitter and say, "Guys, I'm sorry, he's healthy."
Elijah Mitchell's wife. Yeah.
Yes,
tweeted, like,
Elijah Mitchell.
Yeah.
You know how bad it's gotta be to be like, "Hey, put the word out. I'm healthy."
And you can tell, like, when I think somebody asked Andy about it on Friday about Elijah Mitchell. Maybe it was even earlier in the week, and it was like, oh, he might not play. But
and again, I was like,
surprising.
Why? Why, coach?
Genuinely.
And of course, he told Tracy Wolfson on, what was it, Sunday morning, well, Clyde's had great games against the Buffalo Bills. Dog, that was in 2020.
Well, yeah, I mean, honestly, you know what? We got the Broncos coming up. You know, Justin Houston's had some great games against them in the past.
Hey, Seth, you're doing a bit, but I mean...
You're not, yeah.
I mean, Tracy Wolfson had to go through her notebook and be like, wait, what?
Yeah, sorry. Seth, I pump faked you on this one. I'm going to stick with that for just a second. I'm just like genuinely confused. It's genuinely confusing. I'm not mad. I'm not even disappointed. I'm just confused. Like, maybe now the trade deadline is come and gone. Like, maybe now they'll cut him loose and say, okay, well, we thought maybe we were going to get a 7th from somebody for this running back that couldn't get on the field, even as we've had this thin and struggling running back room. I was cool with rostering 4 running backs because you're going to need 4 running backs. The NFL's hard, especially when Brashard Smith is still his only real running back work came from Gardner Minshew when he wasn't allowed to throw the ball against the Raiders. I mean, Brashard Smith has had like a very small handful of legit meaningful carries so far this year. I'm not going to hold my breath on him. I don't think it as a playmaker and a gadget player, I'm still in. As a running back in 2025, I'm just kind of snoozing that one. Maybe he's in the mix next year. When your only healthy running back was Kareem Hunt, I thought Elijah Mitchell would be active, and I thought Brashard Smith might get some carries. He didn't. You know what? I am going full circle with one other thing, because when you guys were talking about the running game earlier, I don't know how much more we'll talk about it within the context of the Bills game. We can if we want.
Go, Josh. Go.
The Chiefs ran the ball as well as the Bills did. By multiple measures. Like, this isn't funny math. This isn't just box score watching. Kareem Hunt was 11 for 49. That's 4.5 yards per carry. The Chiefs as a team ran the ball for 4 yards a carry. James Cook ran for 4.2 per, and the Bills ran for an even 4 yards a carry, just like the Chiefs did. Also, it works in the advanced scores as well. The Chiefs were adding 0.08 EPA per play when running the ball. They were losing expected points added when throwing the ball. The Bills were averaging 0.10 EPA per play added when running the football. So slightly better than the Chiefs. The Chiefs had a 50% success rate running the football, a 38% success rate throwing the football. Everything on the Bills' side is green, by the way.
And by the way,
comparison can stop there.
Seth, what have the Bills struggled against all season on defense?
It's hard to say. Who knows?
You know what? I'm sorry. Let's pull the lever, Kronk. Let's go back to Buffalo. We'll come back to the pass rush in a second. I forgot how much meat was on the bone for the run game still. Hit me, Seth.
It again goes to, I'm really curious what an honest answer would look like. And this is where I feel frustrated, because I know people will ask questions, and they ask some questions, and you'll get these generic, well, they out executed us, they did it, and Andy will always take all the blame, and Spags will too. It's not like they're afraid to take the blame, but the answers that they provide, and I get they're both old school, like they don't want to say anything that could give an advantage. Well, you know what else gives it?
Why would we tell you that we know Xavier Worthy's going to get the ball or not based on film study in freaking early November?
I think for me, it's like if you don't want people to know what you're going to do, you also probably shouldn't run some of the same stuff you've used against a team before.
Yep.
And so, like, to me, like, if you're going to insult people's intelligence by doing that, you might as well just say, yeah, we came in here with one game plan, and you don't even have to say anything specific. We came in with a game plan for one thing. The way the game went was different than what we expected. We didn't adjust fast enough. And maybe Andy will occasionally say something like that, and they adjusted a little. You know, second half looked better. It looked less like they were having to grind out every yard. But that's what was so frustrating about the first half. They just, everything looked like a grind. And that's one thing where I really do think that the Chiefs are uniquely positioned that a more explosive and better running back would actually help things look like less of a grind. Like where, you know, you saw that with the Bills, they ran the ball about the same, maybe slightly better. But it didn't look like a grind. And that's because you just do it multiple times. And man, those 3rd and 2s, they get annoying, don't they? Those 3rd and 3s, and that's the thing, if you can have a high success rate doing it, which the Chiefs do, and that's where it's frustrating, the idea of like they could be more explosive. And some of the quotes like about like Pacheco and like how surprised they are that he wasn't better earlier in the year, those things frustrate me because it's your job to know that. It's your job to know how good someone's going to play or how well they're going to play. That's your job to know. Well, I'm surprised this isn't working. That's like a Romeo Crennel type 2012 type comment where he was like, I'm not sure what's going wrong. That's an awful quote. Like, and this is where it's just a frustrating thing. Now, if they run the ball under center, all of a sudden, does everything get magically fixed? No. But it probably would have helped. Like how many play action boots from under center did you see this game? How many, like they showed some unique protection stuff in the second half. That was nice. But it's like, this is the same problem that I kind of had with the season opener, with the loss to the Eagles. To an extent, the loss to the Jags, although that looked differently. One thing all of them had in common, honestly, no, not the Jags one. The Jags one, they were dominant to start off, and then just weird crap happened. All 3 of their losses, one thing that I feel like they keep trying to just push the button. It's like, well, you know, we've kind of fiddled around for a half now. We're going to push the button. We're going to push the button. And sure, that works.
Switch.
And sure, that works against the Commanders. That does not work against the Bills. McDermott, and this is the thing I talked about last week.
Team that got more thumped by Sam Darnold Seahawks with Jaden Daniels.
Hey, when they didn't have to turn on the switch at halftime.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's where it's just a frustrating thing in that they still seem to have some, and who knows? You know, I can't climb inside everyone's head. I know that Mahomes is a psychopath. I know that Kelsey cares probably more than anyone else on the team about winning and losing and like each play. Probably in some days, and he admits this, he probably sometimes cares too much and it affects him at times. I know that Andy Reid tries to be the same guy every day. I know Spags loves the X and O's. So it's tough to just say, like, knowing the personalities involved, whether there's a certain amount of hubris there that of just thinking that you can just turn it on because you've done it for years. But I got to tell you, subconsciously or consciously, that's going to happen when the same things happen over and over and over, including last year. And that's where it's just one of those things that's just really frustrating in terms of you've got some things that they do well right now that don't go with Andy's system. And they continue, and this was last year and the year before that too, they don't lean into it. It's still a minor portion of what they do. That is deeply frustrating to me, where with the name of the game in today's NFL, honestly, the offenses with the easy buttons are not West Coast bloodline based. None of them are. Literally none. And they involve under center. They involve the run game again.
Play action.
Because the NFL swings on a pendulum. Now, does that mean you got to run the ball a ton to be great? No. But like slinging the ball down the field. And honestly, if one more person tells me, you know, well, defenses are playing shell stuff, not as much as they were. And you got to have an answer for two-man. You got to have an answer for it. Where are the crossers? Let your guys run away. Oh, well, that receiver kept up with Worthy running down the field. That's because he knew he was running a go, and he's got like a 5-yard head start.
Yeah, and where were there were also no slants involved. 0 slants.
Slants. No 13 personnel where you've got Rice lining up as in the slot trying to isolate him in the middle of the field with stuff spread out. All the stuff that they've been doing this year. Not all of it.
But a good portion of it.
A good portion of the stuff they've done this year that's worked, they just weren't doing. And that's where some days it feels to me, and again, Mahomes played poorly on some snaps. Make no mistake, they had a couple of drive killers that were bad Mahomes looks. Okay, that happens. Bailed on some pockets he shouldn't have. Right. I'm going to try to get to the film review over the bye week of the last 3 weeks. First 2 should be fun. But there really is a sameness to this offense that the way that I phrased it to someone that I was chatting with, Andy Reid still absolutely has his fastball with one-off game plans, and we've seen it. Mm-hmm. He still has his fastball with certain designs. I just wrote a couple weeks ago about the beauty of those screen designs that he dialed up like one of against the Bills. Now, to be fair, Trey, get out of the way, man. Like, God darn it.
But that play, you could tell, like, man, he's just not moving the way
No.
he normally would because he's dealing with a back injury, and they kind of needed him for this game.
And that's, I will say, I did see a comment saying choice routes have to be incorporated. They do run a lot of choice routes.
They run a lot of choice routes.
They almost, I would argue that they run too many. That, like, guys like Hollywood Brown are better off with certain kind of routes that are more built to beat man coverage. Because no matter how good you are at running man, how you are good at opening up against man, if you're just running a variant, an 8-yard curl, I mean, that's not necessarily going to do it. So I'm just frustrated that I'm going to come back to this comment from Seamus because that's interesting. That's the sameness to the offense. I feel like Andy Reid still has his fastball with a lot of designs, but I don't feel like there's been a lot of branching out. And we said this before the season. It's like, oh, well, the offensive line, struggled and that kind of stuff against the Bills. And then before that, it's the receivers. So, okay, to be clear, so you need a really good receiver group and a really good offensive line and Patrick Mahomes to have a good offense consistently. If you do, what is it exactly you'd say you do here? And I've defended Andy Reid a million times, knows more about football than I ever will, but there is a sameness to how some of these losses look. And now I look forward to them averaging 35 per on the back half and me looking like a moron. Tyquan needs to be running these deep routes instead of Worthy. Get Tyquan Thornton back on the field. He unlocks the deep ball, gets behind teams consistently.
Here we go,
and then
kids. Why would we do that when we're seeing them in early November? Again, whether it's hubris or malpractice, why would I show you slants?
It's not Thornton weeks 1, 2, and 3 a ton because he had to be there.
Right? Why would we put Tyquan Thornton out there? Nah, man, nah. Why would we do any of these things? We don't have to. I mean, we don't have to. I guess we have to in 2 weeks when we play the Denver Broncos.
I want the audience to know that this all happened after I sent this text, but I think before Seth or Nate saw it, they sent the text in our group chat, making a note to talk more wide receiver on Thursday. Worthy, Brown, Thornton especially. Just a good bye week topic. I just sent that to the group chat just so I would remember.
You're not wrong, Seamus.
Every Thursday we're like, what do we want to talk about?
It's not. Yeah, thank you, Nate Dogg. It's not Thanksgiving, Seth. I mean, what do we want? What do you want? You want us to run functional offense and get a high quality opponent on the road?
I'd like to be above 500 on Thanksgiving. Is what I would. Hey. And now, by the way, they get to play Sauce Gardner and Quinn Williams. Thanks, Jets. That was awesome.
But they wouldn't give up Breece Hall. Those are.
Seth, did you have a particular comment from Seamus you wanted to go back to, or did you already hit that? I can't remember.
He asked me. He said that my large adult son, which is usually a reference to Mitch Morse.
Morse, right? Mitchell Morse.
He said, "Did you hear that your large adult son loves you?" And my understanding is that BJ might have had an interview with Mitch Morse.
Yes.
Did he say nice things about me?
I actually have to admit I have not listened to it yet, and now I won't be listening to it after
No,
hearing
right,
that
because he'll
recommendation.
be giving you too much praise.
That is on 10 Things. That is in the KCSN podcast feed right now, the same place you hear this show. So yeah, they're a little cross promo for you there.
So let me just 20 seconds. I have been blessed to have conversations with more than a couple of guys that are in the league. Not nearly as many as Nate or Josh. And talk about people that are in the league. I can honestly say that there's almost no one that was as kind and just like a normal good dude as Mitch Morse. And I can tell you that is a universal opinion. Like everyone in media and his teammates and coaches, everyone loves Mitch Morse because he is just
Rachel
a genuinely
says he loves you, Seth. I listened to that this morning. Seamus said he mentioned you with no leading up to it, Seth. This is
Oh my goodness!
you guys have two halves of a best
love
friends
affair.
necklace I didn't know about or something. That's
Whoa,
adorable.
romance!
Although I will say we never got a chance to get that barbecue. Maybe sometime me and him will be in Kansas City at the same time. But he is a genuinely good dude in a world where not everyone is a genuinely good dude. Awesome person. So that actually makes me feel really good, not because a pro player said something nice about me, but because someone who's a legitimately good person said something nice about me. That's pretty cool.
All right,
Did
so
Tucker transcribe it? I'm not reading this. Tucker.
No,
Seth
I'm
reads
not
to
reading
himself.
this either.
I'm not
Get outta
reading
here,
that out
Tucker.
loud. I will not let Seth hear that in my voice.
Get out of here. All right, you can
Delete
read
that,
it on your
delete
own
that,
time,
Tucker.
Seth.
I don't want Seth to see this.
Yeah, well, it's too late. All right. So
He loves
hit the lever, Tucker, and let me explain to you the pass rush. Okay, is everybody
Let's
ready?
take a break. Sorry.
Chiefs Kingdom, what is your favorite touchdown? By now, you guys already know that my favorite touchdown is the next one, because with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, every touchdown could bring you closer to cashing in. From first touchdown score to anytime touchdown props or the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. You want spreads? They got it. Over-unders? DraftKings got you covered. Same-game parlays, regular parlays? DraftKings has it, and you need it. And here's the best part. New customers bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Your team hitting pay dirt pays out to you. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code KCSN. That's code KCSN for new customers to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, pass-through per wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer.
All right, now we're gonna talk about the pass rush for sure. Just saw this comment from who is Mike. So the plan for the pass rush is hope and the power of friendship. Is that what we're looking for here, Nate?
All right. I want everybody to take a deep breath. Okay, your team didn't make a trade at the trade deadline. They did not get Bradley Chubb. They did not get Jermaine Johnson. Their big midseason move was signing a guy that was on this roster in training camp. Okay? And again, as Josh said, he already outsnapped Derek Nottie. So we're already on it. We're already trending in the right direction, okay, kids? Now, okay. He's doing more than he needs to do. In fact, he's doing probably the most of anyone of his caliber. All right? And you're asking, yet again, for Steve Spagnuolo to not only scheme it up when it matters most, not in early November, as we all know this. There's obviously a trend that he must continue to be on as the most decorated pass rusher. But ladies and gentlemen, I just want to remind you that there is no cavalry, right? There is no hope. The Chiefs have about $5 million in salary cap space. If you actually want to go out and sign somebody,
Thank God
Okay.
they spent $9 million of that on two guys who don't play.
On offense too. Or well, I guess
No.
well,
Fulton and Mitchell.
Fulton's on defense. Well, hey, look, Christian Fulton's just one sprained ankle away, guys. He's just one sprained ankle
From
away.
what?
All right, he's 31 years old. Okay, let me say that again. He's 31 years old. He has played the most defensive snaps amongst his peers. Okay,
He's played 4 fewer snaps than George Karlaftis.
correct. He is not George Karlaftis. Okay, he not Charles Omenihu. He ain't Mike Dana. I don't even know. I mean, Jerry Tillery's out there, I guess. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduced to you last year the burden that was placed on everyone, and especially Patrick Mahomes, in trying to get the team to their 3rd straight Super Bowl, something that was unprecedented for a repeat champion trying to make an unprecedented 3rd straight Super Bowl. Welcome to it's not a burden anymore, guys. Welcome to the absolute mountain that Chris Jones has to climb yet again. He has to do something that you would never, ever ask a guy going on 31-32, let alone to do it for the 4th consecutive season. Because I want to remind you guys, in 2022, excellent. 2023, amazing. In particular, in the postseason run. Last year had flashes, and boy, did he show up when it mattered most. And now, because you gave him that huge contract, which he absolutely deserved, which you could have figured out 2 years earlier, but chose not to, you're asking a 31-year-old to be an absolute godsend that is going to climb Mount Kilimanjaro to get anywhere near the quarterback again. And oh, by the way, he has to play as many snaps, if not more, than the guy you just gave a large contract to in George Karlaftis. This is the mountain. Chris Jones, here are your little, what do they call them, spikes? Here's your things. Here's your things, okay? Your backpack is Mike Pinnell. Your pitchforks are Charles Omenihu and Jerry Tillery. I mean, I guess you might want to see when you go up there. So we'll give you George Karlaftis. Climb the mountain again, you 31-year-old bum. Climb it, okay? Because if he doesn't climb it, they have no shot. And that's what you realized in Sunday's game. That was the most damning part of Sunday's game. They let Josh Allen nickel and dime them to a degree, which he's done before. Totally fine. But when they chose to do play action, when they chose to take shots down the field, Chris Jones is looking around saying, what I got to do? What I got to do? Well, sir, you have to climb a mountain. That's 2 pass blockers. That's probably the running back in, maybe the tight end as well. They moved him to the edge, and guess what? He actually one-on-one. That led to a sack by Leo Chenal. But hey, man, we're just asking the oldest guy on defense to be a Hall of Famer. And, can you be Aaron Donald again? That'd be great. That'd be really great. That's the pass rush plan, guys. So, the pass rush essentially comes down to, can Chris Jones, can he yet again ascend in a way that 31-year-old interior pass rushers never do?
The Chiefs, and the Mike Dana deal, I was okay with overall at the time when it happened. Unfortunately, he just hasn't played as well since then, and he was never like a dude. Like, we went over this a lot.
He's 31 years old,
the
Jake.
Chiefs, the Chiefs right now. I will say I'm very, you know what? Man, I shouldn't, because I'm kind of in a bad mood. But I would just say to all you Chiefs fans that have wanted to blame Chris Jones for everything wrong with the defense for 6 years, congratulations. He's not playing as well.
Because he's 31. He's playing all the snaps.
Yeah, so, I mean, it is what it is. And I wrote about it, and these things are important. But, there's been, people have talked badly about Chris Jones for years. And now some of it looks like it might be true. Now, in terms of effort, I don't know about that. I don't know if the guy's got it in him.
Every snap. Every snap.
And
I got to stay healthy. I got to be a part of the scheme. I got to be on the field. I cannot get off the field. Like, I have to pick and choose which thirds down I'm actually going to try to find a one-on-one because, they're doubling me every other place I go to set up other guys and an occasional blitz from Spags. But I got to be on the field all the time. I got to stay healthy all the time. I got to be, like, there is no help, guys. There's no cavalry. Maybe George Karlaftis turns it on in the second half like he did last year. Pray that happens. Because, you can't really play him on outside all the third downs because then you have no one on the interior. So, yeah, man, pray that a 31-year-old defensive tackle just has an awesome stretch in November, December, January, and hopefully early February.
Well, and that's where part of the hubris stuff can come in because he's done that before.
Correct.
And so
when he wasn't 31.
And so
a million games.
So the big thing here is that you're in a situation here where right now you're paying Amenahu and Mike Dana a combined, I think it's like $11.6 million this year against the cap. And, that doesn't factor in cash and stuff. 11.6 million, and this is where I think when you try to piece together a pass rush with guys that like Gelati, I think has played as well or better than both of them. And so that's good. Like Gelati continues to start to take strides. I think his ability to crush the pocket's only going to improve. I don't think he's ever going to be a dude, but he could be a good guy, and he's more athletic than Dana. So, okay, fair enough. But he's on a rookie contract. Right now, your pass rush rotation consists of, Jones and Karlaftis. And Karlaftis, to his credit, I would say is probably playing a little better than he did last year. He's getting a few more quick pressures. He's winning a little more one-on-one based on the numbers that I'm seeing from places that track that stuff. I don't really trust pressure rate from next gen because it gauges how close you are to the quarterback.
Yeah, it's player tracking data, yeah.
And that doesn't necessarily tell you, like, did he roll your direction? There's just a lot there. Right. But the thing is, Karlaftis still is a guy that can't be your best pass rusher. And if he's your second best pass rusher, you might be okay depending on what your 2 and 3 or your 3 and 4 are, right? And
Or
right
what-
now, their
what
3 and
phase
4
Chris
just
Jones is
isn't.
getting at
Yeah.
number one.
Yeah. And when you've got superstar at number 1, if you've got good player at number 1, now you've got problems. And so there was one snap in particular. There's 2 snaps that I want to talk about. One is one that made the rounds. That was that like 50-yard almost gain to Kincaid, where Josh Allen just had all day. As Kincaid ran all the way across the field, and then you've got a blown coverage. I've got theories on it, but whatever. Just because it's tough to know with individualized stuff.
Whether Noel is supposed to carry. What is Tranquil supposed to do, if I remember correctly? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And so the long and short of it is people look at this, and what you've got is you've got Bolton playing as a spy, and you've got Tillery, and then you've got Karlaftis rushing. And you had Tranquil at the line trying to, create some – what you're trying to do is create one-on-ones, okay? They're only actually rushing 3, and Bolton is a spy. Right? But he's threatening a gap, so he does do something positive. He takes up a blocker. They know Jones is going to get double teamed. The point of this alignment, because people of this snap made the rounds a ton, and people are mad because Jones, after he sees the double team, is clearly going to stay with him. Yep. He just he stands and waits. Here's the deal. And there's 2 parts to this, okay? Does Chris Jones have... Does he need to show way more effort than that? Yes. That's a terrible look. Was he probably thinking about the contained pass rush plan? I think so.
Yes.
And I've seen a little more of that from him this year.
Correct.
Where I think he is thinking about contain. So
especially
his way of
beating
that double team would have been to try to fight his way back inside. You remember what happened with Justin Herbert in week 1?
Correct.
There's no that Bolton's not in position if Allen escapes around the edge. He's in position if Allen escapes through the B gap. So I think that's part of it, okay? Mm-hmm. It's still a bad look. But here's the deal. Everyone always wants to only talk about one thing. There's always more than one thing going on. Yeah, that's a bad look for Jones, for sure. You know what else is a bad look? George Karlaftis getting destroyed by the Bills' right tackle. He's got a one-on-one in space. Tillery has a one-on-one in space. That is drawn up so that Bolton takes up a blocker. Jones gets a double team. You're not anticipating Jones winning that snap.
He just needs to be in the way.
Yes.
And have a presence and play. And to your point, play a little bit of contain so that Josh doesn't have an immediate escape hatch.
Yeah, and he needs to take up those pass blockers, and he needs to hold contain overall. You still want more effort. He's not been as good. Here's the deal. And I've actually got to get going after this, and I apologize. So I'll land the plane here, and then I'll go. That problem of other guys winning one-on-one, it still exists. And they've got to figure something out with that. It's not like he's never making plays. And all you got to do is you go to the fourth quarter. The Chiefs offense had a shot, right, with 7 minutes left, in part because the Chiefs, Spags dialed up a great blitz that was centered in part around the attention Jones gets. And then 3rd and long, Jones instantly wins, forces Allen to drop his eyes, and Chanel does a great job, collects a sack. Jones still makes 1 or 2 of those a game. This defense is designed around him making 4 or 5 of them. And that's the problem, is this entire defense is designed around Chris Jones being unblockable all game. I don't know if he's got that in him anymore. Now we'll see.
31 years old.
Seth, you have 60 seconds before you leave to let Mitch Morse, be the guy that gets us out of here today. Tucker has the clip for you.
That sounds great. Let's do that.
So that's what we're gonna do. We'll be back on Thursday. We're keeping a regular schedule, even with the bye. We're gonna have plenty to talk about. But today's final word does not go to Nate. It goes to Mitch Morse.
I have a question.
No.
Okay,
let's get to
Seth, I forget his hand. So he's out of Minnesota, correct? Seth
Keysor.
Dude,
Yes.
I love that guy. He was so kind to me when I was playing.
It's like your son.
Well, yeah, I just loved it. I mean, that was so cool. It was so sweet. It was so kind, and he was always so constructive, even when I was going through my injury stuff. So, if Seth's listening out there, I miss you and love you, pal. Hopefully, we can connect here soon, buddy.
Yeah.
Well, that was really nice.
Nice. So genuine.
I think you should be more alarmed by the fact that apparently there's another Seth Keysor out there you don't know about.
Nothing like